Hello, welcome to Mediasplode episode 67, Star Trek Academy and the 2026 Academy Awards. My name is Conor Kilpatrick. With me is Ron Richards.
Hello, Connor. I should have done the intro with your stuffed up
I'm a little stuffy.
congestion. I just realized I should have probably been doing that.
That's about as much air as I can take in. And joining us this month is Mike Romo, old friend of the show.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Mike.
Very, very nice to be here. I will admit I'm a little stressed out about this episode.
Well, Mike heard we were going to talk about Star Trek, and he beamed himself into the studio.
Exactly. Mike is here for a very strategic reason. As stay tuned to the latter portion of the show, because for those who don't know, both Mike and I are big Star Trek fans. I mean, for our entire lives, Mike, right?
Sure,
yeah. And like the great, and we'll talk about it. We'll
talk about
it. But Connor, I am concerned because we're here for our monthly talking about movies, TV, things other than comics we talk about. I'm looking at the rundown and I don't see any Muppets.
There are no Muppets.
And I thought we talked about that in the last production meeting that we were always going to talk about Muppets.
I don't even have one.
As soon as they put another show out, we'll talk about them.
I thought we were going to spin off an entire dedicated podcast to the Muppets.
All right. I'm going to do a rewatch podcast.
This is going to show up on your review at the end of the year. So
take a note. Carol's got enough to do.
I'm sending a note to HR. So.
Okay, so if you've never seen this before or heard this before, this is the Mediasplode. It's our monthly show that's unlocked by our patrons at patreon.com/iFanboy. So we talk about non-comic book media. We talk about comic stuff over at iFanboy.com. All of our other shows talk about the comic stuff. This is the non-comic stuff. Although occasionally lines will blur. That's how life goes. Yeah. We're going to kick it off our regular first segment. We talk about what we've been enjoying since we talked to you last. And Ron's going to start us off.
Yes. Well, I thought there would be more Muppets, so I would have included Muppets.
I understand.
But next time we'll correct that. But I wanted to follow up. I know last month we talked about what we've been watching on TV. I mentioned the Game of Thrones spinoff show, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I wanted to circle back on it because the 6-episode series ended. I don't know if they had previously announced if we knew they were doing it, but a second season is in pre-production already. They stuck the landing on this series after 6 episodes. I don't know, Mike, did you watch this? Or
totally nailed it? I read the short story back in the old anthology, which also had one by Robert Jordan. Terrific short story. Then the comic came back like 5 years after that, and then that was like 12 or 13 years ago when all that happened. So the fact that this came out and was so good was such a delight. And I agree with what you guys said about it before.
It was one of those things that when the dust settled on the 6th episode, it was one of those like, how did they get away with this being as good as it actually was, knowing all the problems with House of the Dragon and all the other stuff that's happening? Like, I really think and I said it last month, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm not a huge Game of Thrones fan. I haven't read a single word of the books. I'm a casual fan.
Well, you like the show.
Great. I like the show. I like the original show to a point. It got to a certain point. I wasn't hate watching, but I was definitely train wreck watching. I wanted to see how off the rails it could get. But I will tell you, small, focused stories in this universe, really compelling. It was really well done.
I think it helped that the cast was excellent. The 2 leads were really good. The supporting cast that came in were fun. I liked it more as it went.
Yeah.
The first episode I wasn't sure about. The second one I was like, I don't know.
It was slow to start.
But then once the twist was revealed, and everyone who's read the books knew what was happening. I didn't know the twist was coming. Yeah. Once that became revealed and it became slightly more ingrained into the story of Game of Thrones, then I was more interested personally. But I thought the final 2 episodes were great. The whole battle on was really it was shot in a way that didn't look like Game of Thrones at all. The whole fight was very sort of modern.
They were able to find their own language within this universe that you would think that when you hear Game of Thrones, you know what the language is already, right? But they're able to create their own identity for the show. So I'm excited for the next season. I hope they treat this. I know we talk a lot about it, but I hope they treat this like The Pit or Slow Horses. Bang this out every year. Give me a new 6-episode and short anthology story, and just have fun with it. Go on the road trip story. Give me a new city every season and a new adventure with Dunk and Egg, and I'm on board.
Mike, how much source material is there for this?
Apparently there are 2 more novellas, but I haven't read them. This is totally new to me that Dunk and Egg was even a thing. And I kind of wish that the cast and crew were locked away in a faraway place, so they didn't know how what was being received, because it was so cool to call. I mean, what, 4 sets? One big outside freezing set. You could just tell how everybody, they were really all in it together. I mean, it felt like a play. It was just having that localized thing about it was wonderful.
So my wishes for the next season. So I have a question. I have a question for you both, and then I have a wish for a second season. My first question is: at the end of the last episode, we see that Egg went off with Dunk, and then they show his father, the Targaryen, like screaming his name. Do you think his father knew that he did, and he was just saving face by pretending in front of everybody? Like, where did he go? Or did Egg really run off without permission?
I'm trying to remember. I think he ran off without permission.
I think he runs off without permission.
I couldn't tell.
But I mean, if anything, I think the king probably.
I think he lied to Dunk, because did he tell Dunk his dad said he could go?
He did.
I think he lied to Dunk.
And for a moment, I thought maybe the dad was pretending to.
It's possible.
And then my wish for the next season is that I want new location, new supporting cast, with the exception of the
Baratheon?
The Baratheon. Yes, the Baratheon guy. He's great.
He's his own. He needs his own one-off little episode. But what a delight.
Yes, great show. Definitely watch it. And then finally, in movie theaters, I was delighted to take my kids to go see the new Pixar movie, Hoppers. We've been watching the trailer for what feels like an eternity. My kids love trailers, but we've been watching the trailer for ages. And Pixar, I know Pixar has been much aligned over the past couple of years through the pandemic, with the movies coming on Disney Plus, and questioning how good they were or whatever. This was an original story with not a sequel, not any new characters. Leans into what works with his talking animals, because we saw with Zootopia 2 last year, people love the talking animals. Yeah. This was very clever, very well done, good story that leans on the conservation, protect the environment, protect animals kind of morality play. Has technology in it. John Hamm seemingly playing himself in the animated form, which is great. A very handsome man. But it was great. My kids liked it. They're 7. I liked it. I'm older. It just worked on all the levels that you would expect. Kudos. The opening scene was set to a Bikini Kill song, which was a surprise.
Wow.
But yeah, it was what I would expect and hope for from a Pixar movie. It did not stink like Elio.
Now, was it like Avatar? Because that line made me laugh.
I mean, technically it was. I mean, basically the whole premise of the movie is that the scientists make it so that you can put your brain inside the body of a robot, of an animal, and go and talk to animals. And the kid in the movie is like, "You mean like Avatar?" And so
and then they're like, "No, not like that at all."
Right. No, but it's exactly like it. But after they had to make that joke because, but then it's also nothing to do with that, like nothing like Avatar, and yet it is Avatar at the same time.
There was no one you wanted to have sex with in this movie.
There was no Varang, unfortunately, which is I'm glad, because my son was sitting right next to me, and I'd feel a little awkward if Varang showed up. But no, but it was entertaining. Towards the end, it did get a little like total suspension of disbelief and a little wacky and out there, and okay, let's wrap it up, as movies sometimes do. But the kids wanted to see it. That my measure is that in the next 24 hours after seeing it, if the kids ask if we can go see it again, and then that did happen. So
I love that they wanted to go see it again. I just love that.
Yeah.
So,
but also
go to the movies.
If near the end of the movie is like 1 hour and 40 out of 1 hour and 45, that's a win.
Yes.
A nice length. Well done. I mean, actually, that would be 7 minutes of trailers, so a quick 1.5 hour or so.
And I think Mark Mothersbaugh did the music.
Oh,
yes, he did. Yeah, he did. He did the score. So kudos there as well too. Whoever was working on Hoppers on the music side, between the Bikini Kill cut and Mark Mothersbaugh, knew what they're doing. Number. So yeah, exactly. So thumbs up on Hoppers for me. So,
it did well.
Awesome. It did better. It was the best open since Coco,
which is good.
Yeah,
because animation had gone in the toilet for original stuff. So in theater wise, so that's good.
I mean, it wasn't. I mean, we're not talking. It wasn't Frozen. It wasn't like a cultural. Yeah, but I think it was number 1 at the box office 2 weeks in a row. So so did all right.
That's cool. Yeah, good for them. We want a hit. We want this to be good. So I'm really happy to hear that.
I want the number of times as a parent. Yes. The number of times I look at Fandango and be like, what can I do this weekend? And I don't see a movie to take my kids. It's disappointing. I will go every weekend if I can. Totally. So, I'm glad to see it.
Take them to see The Bride.
Maybe.
Mike, what have you been enjoying lately?
So we were talking about this. Much against my better judgment, I ended up falling into watching the Traitors, which is basically it's like an escape room type of thing in a way. It's Escape Mansion. It's like Survivor.
It's werewolves or Mafia. It's the same game.
It's like one of those kind of games, which I never played, right? And so I remember driving by billboards and just really rolling my eyes to the extent that I was going to cause a car accident. But I watched. Whitney was watching it. My wife Whitney was watching the Traitors last year, and it was interesting as a social experiment, not unlike when Survivor came out. It is interesting to see what happens when people get together. There are social dynamics, there's a monetary reward, and a lot of the drama is whether or not people understand that they're being lied to and manipulated, and there are deceitful people trying to interact with people that can't imagine being deceitful. So last time the good people, the non-Traitors people won. And one of them was very earnest, was very kind. And this year, kind of the ultimate traitor won. This guy, Ron.
Don't say who it is, just in case.
I will say
people haven't watched it.
Ron hasn't seen it yet, but did you watch it, Ron?
I do not. No, despite
it's great.
I know it's won Emmys and it's a huge hit on Peacock. I'm a huge fan of Alan Cumming, who's the host.
Well, there you go. Well, you'll love this.
But yeah, for me, it's a time thing.
Ron and I have played werewolves together.
Unfortunately, yeah, not because of you, Connor. I'm just not a fan of games like that.
I mean, it's a popular. I know there's a weekly werewolves game here in Hollywood that some of our friends play. It's the same thing. It's some people are lying, and every time they don't get caught, they kill someone off, and then the house gets smaller and smaller. And this one started in the UK. It's extremely popular there,
and they do it with normal people in the UK.
Well, they do both
in NBC. But
this one, the first season of the Traitors US one started off half normal people, half reality stars.
Okay.
And the normal people just got destroyed because they were all starstruck by the reality stars, and they all just got destroyed. Yeah. So it's a mix of Bravo celebrities and like smaller time celebrities, sometimes athletes or politicians. This one had Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir from the Olympics, and it had Ron Funches, the comedian, and Michael Rappaport, the actor, amongst all these other Bravo people and Survivor people and Big Brother people come on.
And Michael Rappaport.
Yeah, who really talked him into several interesting situations.
He really did some brand damage to himself.
He really did.
On the
Shocking.
The thing about the show is like we have very few shows where like there's sort of a zeitgeist around it. Like people talk about it. It was one of the only times I could go to vulture.com and understand what the headlines were about. Like I felt like I was part of something like way back in the day when Survivor was big. So in as much as that, and people like talking about these people and seeing, and also like you kind of get in that situation, not unlike Survivor, where you're like, well, how would I be? Right. And the game is rough. Like it was really interesting to watch this season, someone play it so well and some other people not play it so well that I'm like, well, maybe this is the ultimate expression of it. So it'll be it's
going to be a letdown.
It's going to be, but it's going to be normal people the next time.
The winner of this one was played a Dr. Will style strategy. Like he was so dominant from start to finish. Yep. Nobody got near him.
No,
he was never in danger.
Who won? Spoil it. I'm not going to watch it.
You will never know. I could say any name I can make up. It's someone you've never heard of.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's not even a. It's from a.
So it's not Michael Rappaport.
Not Michael.
No. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
But Alan Cumming is on another level on the show.
He always is. He's great,
and his wardrobe is fantastic.
He seems
super fun. Yeah. Scotland is beautiful. It looks great, and it's like it goes by pretty quick. And then when you're not in the mood for something heavier or whatever, it was
our Thursday night.
Yeah.
Companion to the pit, where the pit was really heavy. We would take the edge off with the Traitors.
Nice.
Okay, so this part about the Mediasplode is we talk about things that have taken up a lot of your entertainment time. And for me, this year was a game called Arc Raiders, which is an extraction shooter video game. I didn't know what that meant either, gentle listener, viewer. But I'm in the video game industry. Part of my thing is listening to what's going on about the video game stuff, what's popular. And by the time this game was released in October 30th, and by the time I decided to install it in December, after paying $29.99, the chatter around this game was fever pitch. Like people are like, you have to go in, you have to turn on proximity chat, which means you keep your microphone and headphone open so you can hear what people are saying as they approach near you. And there's stuff that's happening in Arc Raiders. There's guy named Burnt Peanut, who is a vlogger that's making hilarious videos. My YouTube is filled with this stuff. So I decided to install it in December. And by the time mid-January had rolled around, I'd played it for over 140 hours. And so, yeah, I'm not proud of that either. But I mean, I played so much of it. And I watched
Ron, what the premise of the game is.
So what the deal is, it's a sci-fi future. It takes place in a world where there's something called the Ark. There are robots that are roaming the earth that have destroyed humanity. So humanity, not unlike a silo, they're all living underground. And you play an Ark Raider where you go out on these missions, you collect things that are useful, fabric, oil, processors, other kinds of equipment, and you bring it back down to the city, Esperanza, and then you can use those materials to make better armor, shields, weapons, and other things that help you survive another round. So the loop is really great. So every round is up to 30 minutes long. And if you don't extract yourself within 30 minutes, then you die. Indeed, if you die in this game, all the stuff that you loot with, you lose. So you spend all this time leveling your guy up and you have all this great gear, and then a robot kills you and then you lose all your stuff. It's very frustrating. However, you're also playing with all these other people who can choose to be your friend or not your friend. You never know. So you have these incredible uneasy alliances with people that could just as easily shoot in the back of the head and take your stuff. What has been happening is that people are finding it more fun to hang out with each other and play together, showing each other secret rooms, dropping stuff off if you need stuff, healing you, that there's been an entire social experiment where people are just hanging out, they're filming music videos, they're doing all these crazy levels to the point where it's become like, if you're playing solo, if you don't attack other people, you get in these lobbies, in these game sessions with other people who don't like to attack other people. So it's turning into this kind of like fun environment for people that want to hang out and play the game against other people. Now, if you like shooting other people, then it's this hell on earth. It's hell incarnate. People are really mean to each other. It's crazy. You play 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 because you can play with up to 3 people. And I was playing with this one guy. He's like, yeah, with 2 people, I try to give them wide berth, because what will happen is one guy will start talking to you, he's all friendly, then the other guy will get behind you and shoot you both in the back of the head. Like it's that social tension where it can be really, really good or really, really bad. There was a guy who killed me on Christmas, and I said, man, it's freaking Christmas. I just needed 5 minutes. I said, so thank you so much, because they can hear you swearing at them as they punch you out.
So when you die, I assume you regen somewhere.
Yeah, you go back to that, but you just don't have any of your gear. Right. So it's not like a roguelike where your actual character is dead.
Right.
Well, didn't you say it's like become middle-aged man therapy sessions?
So many dads talking about their kids, so and like funny. It is very, very funny. Like the first thing you'll hear is like, don't shoot, or I'm friendly. And like, everyone's like, oh, cool, you're friendly. And people, people just sit around talking about whatever. And then they go around and they do the stuff. There's one guy who is doing tours of the map. He's like, around this corner, we have a few maps here, like full on guided tours. Like it's been extremely fun to play. And it's been the first time where instantaneous communities have happened. I haven't seen this since the Xbox 360, when I could play a different racing game with people and just laugh playing Outright or whatever that game was called. So it's not necessarily been the game, which is absolutely gorgeous. The gunplay is super fun. The stakes are really high. The robots themselves are really challenging, but also really interesting. But it's also been the social loops that have really captivated me. So it's been a really, really interesting game, and everybody's been taking notice, because since it's released on October 30th, by the time February rolled around, they had sold 16 million copies.
Wow,
which is astounding. So, cool. Which is great. And it's just a Swedish studio that they made a version of the game. They realized it wasn't working. They worked on it for 3 more years, and then they came up with this PvP, player versus player / player versus environment hybrid. And people are freaking out, and they're freaking out because of the humanity of the game. which is kind of
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard of it. It's funny because it's like, you guys are closer to the video game world than I am. I'm just kind of like so on the periphery. But like when it breaks through and I hear of titles, that's how you know that something is really permeating the pop culture. And so I've heard of the game and knew that it was a shooter, but didn't realize the social element of it. And that's fascinating. So
it's funny. Like some guy would be like, you can hear the kid in the background. And like, what's that? He's like, well, this is what you do here. And some of the guy, I was playing with my kid the other day too. It's not all dads.
Yeah.
There's plenty of 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds that it will take you down. But it's been really, really an interesting thing. It's got a huge YouTube component to it. It's been cool. It'll be interesting to see. The thing will be if they can sustain the momentum, which is very, very difficult in a live services game. So we'll see.
Cool.
So I've been really into the World Baseball Classic, much to my surprise, because I don't think I've really watched previous ones at all.
You've never mentioned it. I mean, I knew about it.
Yeah,
I never heard you mention
it.
It's been going on for like 10 years.
4 years or?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for a long time, but in the past, I mean, I think the last one I may have watched a little bit. Like I've actually watched many of the games this year. It started March 5th. It ends as we record this tomorrow. Yeah. So that's before this show comes out. But this one's caught fire. I think you see a lot of chatter about it in the sports community. People are really into this particular one. You've had breakout teams. Italy out of nowhere is in the semifinals. They're actually playing right now as we're recording. If they go to the finals, that'll be an incredible upset for all the teams they've beaten.
Yep.
And it was happening. The majority of the games are happening while Mike and I were at the Games Developers Conference last week, and so I was able to watch a couple of the games, most of the ones in the evening. I ended up watching one game at a bar on my phone because they were playing the Warriors game in San Francisco on the TV, so I couldn't get into the baseball, so I watched it on my phone. But it's that these are full of Major League Baseball players, but there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of national pride. The Dominican team was incredibly fun to watch. The Venezuelan team, Japan, which was last year's champion, got knocked out super early for them, and that was a fun game. These there's jokes because the Italian team's mostly Americans of Italian descent, but still, like it's just been really fun to see these guys get really into it in a way that they kind of don't in their major league games.
And where is it? Where does it happen? Is it a single place?
It's happening in Florida. Where are the games? I know the game tonight is in Miami, but
the U.S. teams are playing all in Houston.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it's not like the Olympics where all these teams
No, they're in several sites around the country. They're playing, but
interesting.
So, as we're recording, the U.S. team is in the finals against whoever wins the Venezuela-Italy game, which is happening right as we record.
Yeah.
The players are into it. They're really into it, and it's been fun to watch. Their passion's been great. The fans are into it.
How do they select a classic person? So yeah, basically it's you have a lot of major league players and they're identifying their heritage and their lineage. So you've got people who are, the countries invite them to join the team based off their heritage. So if the players on the Italian team, they have Italian heritage and can qualify to play for, I don't know what the rules are for what the qualifications are, but so you have major league players playing on the Netherlands team and the Italian team and and obviously the Dominican team is stacked and the Puerto Rican team is stacked and and the Venezuelan team is stacked, right? And and the US team is stacked and and so it's the Japanese team is stacked. They were upset by Venezuela recently, right? So it's it is interesting. I've always dismissed it because it happens. I mean, when it started, what was 15 years ago or whatever it was. It was in the 20 teens, I think, when they started. It was a clear, I thought, cheap play to simulate the World Cup in soccer. Right?
Yeah, they're trying to get. I mean, even the trophy looks like kind of like the World Cup trophy.
Exactly, and because of the nature of the Major League Baseball season, they choose to do it during spring training, and it becomes a massive interruption or distraction to spring training. And like you had it 4 years ago when like the Mets closer was on was he on the Dominican team? I forget where Diaz is from. Dominican, whatever country he was playing for, they won and he was the closer and he closed out the game where they won, and in the process of celebrating twisted his ankle and was out for months and missed the opening of the season, right? And so like you had this like a playoff environment where players are putting themselves at risk and ultimately possibly impacting the major league season. So I get national pride, and I get that, like, and the same thing can happen for the World Cup. I mean, a player in soccer or football could, injure themselves and impact their club play, and it's a matter of like where your priorities are. For me, my priorities are on the Mets and not so much Team USA. I can give two craps about Team USA. I'm more worried about the Mets. But it has been fun this year. It has been nice to see Team Italy drinking espresso in the dugout, and and just the excitement and whatever. For whatever reason, it has felt different this year than it has.
It's caught fire amongst the sort of general population. It's been.
When we were in San Francisco, you said the words baseball, and a couple of people were like, "Oh, tomorrow's game," because the U.S. was on the verge of getting knocked out or something.
It did capture a nice moment of time before the NCAA after football. Like they did catch a moment where there's nothing going on in sports, so that was smart.
It tailed in from the Olympics.
Exactly. It caught the nationalism of Olympics, and
it's nice.
So we had the end of Industry season 4, and Mike hasn't seen it. We're not going to spoil it for him.
Oh man,
no.
But so we had, I don't know why it says 2 seasons on there. It's four seasons. It was interesting because the first 3 seasons was very much a story. Like it was about this bank. It was a Pure Point.
Yeah.
The London office of this U.S. investment bank and the crazy people who were there and all the drugs they had, sex they didn't had. And how they ruined their lives. That kind of ended in season 3. Season 4 is almost a reboot. Not even a reboot. It's more like a resetting of the world because the characters are all now scattered into the wind and having start their lives over. And I thought the season was great. It's dark. They're all kind of dark, but this season especially ends super fucking dark. But it was awesome. I thought, you had characters like Sweet Pea, the
Sweet Pea
analyst come up to become an important character, and she was great. And characters leave who you follow the entire time, and it's just interesting.
I thought this was a chef's kiss, fantastic season, amazing. Couldn't wait for it every Sunday. Yeah. Conor, the first 3 seasons were like college, and this is like the first year of grad school.
Yeah.
Right. So like you had the characters that we got introduced in the first 3 seasons, and they kind of came up in Pure Point, and now they're off in the world and making their own, and they've aged, they've had experiences, and now they're kind of off doing things. Max Minghella, or I can't pronounce his last name, but Max Minghella was is fantastic addition to the cast. And Mike, I don't want to spoil it for you, but like twists and turns that happen for it. The sheer masterful physical body acting of Kit Harington.
Yeah.
No one reacts in agony better than Kit Harington on the show. Like the physical reactions to things that happen to this guy on the show, and the way he does, like it was
can feel soul.
Yes,
like, he's great. He is great on the show.
Yes,
it's great.
Kieran Shipka from Mad Men joins, and
unbelievable.
It fucks you up for a minute because you started watching.
It's a little weird. Like
8, and now she's
not bad.
Taking her clothes off, and then the show is about power and class and money and how things really work. It's set in England. It's mostly about England, but it's relevant to the entire world, and it's about who moves the levers of power for real.
Yeah,
and
it was the only show that I would watch with subtitles on, because not only could I not understand their accents, but I had no idea about the financial vehicles that they were talking about using.
And the jargon is insane.
The jargon was
incredible. It's great. So you don't.
I need to know. I might get rich from this show if I understand what people are saying.
There's slightly less jargon in this season because they're not at the bank anymore.
They're not at the bank anymore.
Right. Okay, there is less jargon. But I will say what I love about this show is I love the vibe.
Yeah. The music is awesome.
The music is amazing. The score, totally. I forget the guy who does the score, but the score is like godly. Like I'm not even into that kind of music, like that, the ambient, whatever. Yeah. So it's Nathan McKay, Micay. It's like this electronic ambient kind of music score, but like also like the first episode had Kieran Shipka for 15 minutes, it seemed like, in a British nightclub set to New Order
Wow.
And Mike, it went from like an original recording of New Order into an extended EDM dance mix of a New Order song.
Amazing.
And I was just like, this show is like, I want to live here.
This
like,
is
it is just like, this is fantastic. And every episode has needle drops like that.
Yeah.
Turnstile was in the last episode, which was just like, that's why I like talk about the cultural bookends of the world I'm living in. Going to see a Pixar movie, my kids, that's got Bikini Kill, and then watching the season finale of Industry with the Turnstile song. It was like, what's going on? But, yeah, the industry is just great, and I can't wait. And so season 5 they announced that it's going to be the last season of the show, the series finale. Very curious what direction they take it in. If I had any criticism about this show, is that it seems like there was a lot of story compacted into how many episodes was it? 8 or 8 episodes of the season. And it felt very, very compressed, and it almost as if they didn't know if they were going to get a 5th season or not.
Totally.
I wish they'd known they had a 5th season, and they could have stretched it out a little more and let it breathe a little more.
Every character gets an ending here, which could continue on. But
good. You never know.
If the show had ended, it would have been a satisfying ending to the series as well.
Because people come back on the show all the time. So yeah, but it's great. I can't recommend it. Go start season 1 and watch all the way through. It's so good. So yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back. We'll talk about the Oscars. All right, so let's talk about the 98th Annual Academy Awards, which just happened this past week. We're not going to talk a long time about it, but let's just quickly look back on the show. Conan O'Brien hosted it. There were 14 different films that won Oscars, the most by one battle after another, which won 6. Sitters won 4.
I saw the award for the shittiest clickbait headline from Slate, which had a picture of Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, Ludwig Göransson, and the woman, the cinematographer, I forget her name. And it said Sinners broke the award for most losses at the Academy Awards last night.
Oh, jeez.
Because it did have the record for the most nominations, and it ended up winning 4. And so then it did have a lot of losses, but it's like, F you, come on. It won so many great awards.
Yeah.
It's like BS.
So
downhill.
Ron and I were talking briefly about this before you showed up, Mike, but like technical problems aside, it had a shockingly high number of audio problems, but
the production itself,
and it went 45 minutes long, but I thought it was a blast. I thought it was a great ceremony. I had a really good time watching the Oscars.
I did think the in memoriam section was its own show.
I mean,
just doing
it had to.
But this was probably one of this year was like between the Rob Reiner opening, the Diane Keaton moment, the Robert Redford moment. How you don't do a moment for Duvall? It was
the best one they've done in a while because
for sure, I agree.
Previously, they would hire some famous singer to sing a sad song, and so they would feel compelled to film the singer, and then they put the people behind them, and you couldn't even see who was back there. This time, they focused on the people who they were honoring, and they had to. I mean, you had so many legends pass. You can't. I saw
some complaints about Bridget Bardot and a few other people not being put in, but I thought they did actually a really good job of including a lot of folks. And I as it kept going, you realize just how painful a year it's been,
and also and showing people who truly they're not just. It's obviously Robert Redford, yada yada, but to have the moment for me to turn to my wife and explain who Drew Struzan was.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah, I was shocked Drew Struzan got a mention. That was awesome.
Yeah.
He helped tell. He inspired folks to go to the movies for generations, I thought Conan was great. I thought some of the digs were hilarious. The YouTube part really, really cracked me up quite a bit. There are lots. I thought he was used throughout. I don't like it when the host comes on and then it just 2 or 3 mentions. I felt like he was able to have a lot of fun throughout the show and grounded it in a really good way.
I thought it was hilarious when Nick came back and he didn't know it. At the end,
that was so fun.
He just muttered to himself, "It's almost over. It's almost over."
We're almost done. We're almost done. Oh,
there was a shocking number of technical problems for a show that much fun. I thought the music was great.
Yeah,
I know there was a lot of controversy about not playing all the songs, but the 2 performances were really strong.
I cannot get Golden out of my head whether I want to or not. That performance I thought was amazing. I thought the performance from Sinners was great. Connor, I agree with you. I think we were entertained watching the show. It was good. I thought it really put Connor, I know we talked at the end of the year how it was we felt like it was a odd year for movies last year, but I walked out of it going, 2025 was an awesome year for movies. This was a great, there were so many different kinds of movies, and there were so many, there was a lot to celebrate, and it felt better than 2024.
And a good
for sure. You know, like
yeah. Too. Not. I mean, obviously, one battle after another won 6, but you know, Sinners getting 4, Frankenstein getting 3. I thought it was nice to see so many different films get recognized.
Avatar.
Good year for genre pictures. So you have Sinners, which is a horror film, Frankenstein, K-pop Demon Hunters, Avatar, Weapons. Those are all genre pictures.
Yeah.
And that's almost half the films that won Oscars.
Was there anything that you were surprised by that you thought was, you know, like I thought cinematography and casting were the two surprises. You know,
I won the pools. I got 21 out of 24. At one point, I was like eight for 8. I was like, "Am I going to win this? Am I going to run the table?"
Well, what was funny was that my wife was laughing because I'm sitting there with the spreadsheet doing the pool, and I was just like, and I was like, "Yeah, it's over." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Conor won." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, because after we got through documentary short and live action short and all stuff, that you and I had all the same answers, and you were one ahead of me. And I was like, so there's no opportunity for me to get ahead of them, right? So it was
great to see.
I was like, I held it up because I had to print out. I was like, it's over. See how everything is the same, and I've got one. So I was like, it was like early in the show, and I was like, I've already won.
Basically, animated short was where Conor bested me. So
funny. Yeah. It was fun to see the tie. I was mixing drinks for people when that came out.
The tie was fun. Like it's just fun. The speeches.
It was a fun show.
Heartfelt stuff. There was some stuff that really, like the documentary speeches were great. They were really heartfelt and really got you. There was some funny stuff. Some of the bits didn't work. Some of the banter didn't work.
The weakest point was and maybe I see it just because of my past experience, stuff like that, but there was a lot of ABC, Disney synergy presenters, right? You had, you know, Pedro Pascal and Sigourney Weaver because they were in the Mandalorian movie together. You had Downey in the stupid green suit and Evans that were awful.
That was not funny. I thought they were going to be great.
There was some really, like, some of the presenter bits were just bad. The Bridesmaids reunion was good, but then went on too long.
And the audio hurt them too because their mics weren't on all the
time. But I will say the Moulin Rouge reunion for Best Picture stole the show. I thought, you know, like we were texting afterwards, and you know, Ewan McGregor just continues to be Nicole Kidman not so much, but made me want to see Moulin Rouge again. But the whole thing should be a celebration of movies, and while it didn't necessarily feel like a celebration of movies past because there's only like a couple of little reunion ones. It felt like a celebration of movies present, which is just as important, you know. So
they don't do so many of the packages where like, let's look at all the action movie and the montage, but they do way more clips than previous years. I think they understood like, hey, we're supposed to be short. But the problem again was the mix on the clips was that the clapping in the hall would overshadow the dialogue of the clips. They got to bring the mix down on the inside so you could hear, like, it's just like the audio. Whoever was in charge of the audio is in big trouble.
And they completely blew having Matt Berry as the announcer.
You couldn't hear him either.
You couldn't hear him either, and they just had him being an announcer. Yeah. Like, you have Matt Berry, have fun with it.
But you couldn't hear it. I couldn't know if he was being fun or not. Like, I was like, is there an announcer? I was like, I can't even hear what he's saying. And
it would be the one time where I would love to. They should have cut to his video feed throughout. That would have been, because he's fun just to watch talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it was a great show, I thought.
Yeah,
and I
Conan, great. The bits were funny. The thing at the end from one battle, the weapons bit was fun. The opening bit, thumbs up. It was good. Yay movies! I can't wait for next year.
Yay movies.
But I love. But my favorite was waking up the next day. And because I told my kids the Oscars were coming, and then I told my kids, you know, my son's very into like what's winning and what's losing, and she's like, what won Best Picture? Did Elio win? Because he really liked Elio. I said, no, Elio didn't win. K-pop Demon Hunters that did. And then I was like, well, you know what won Best Picture? I said, One Battle After Another, and he made a face, and he's like, what's a One Battle After Another about anyway? And I looked at him, and it's just like it's like 7 a.m, and he's getting ready. I'm like, looked at him like, you know, kid, I'm like, I don't actually know what that movie was about. I'm like, but it's really good. It's
about a lot of things.
It's about a lot of things.
All right, let's take another quick break. We'll be back to talk about Star Trek right after this.
All right. So as we talked about at the top of the show, Mike, I'm so happy you're here to join me because, well, Conor and I have talked about Star Trek in the past. Conor has taken a staunch position on the Paramount Star Trek TV series. You're out, right, Conor?
I'm out.
So silly.
I just can't get into the Discover verse or whatever.
The Discoverse.
Discoverse. I mean, if it was more disco dancing, maybe I'd be into it.
Yeah, whatever. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the latest and possibly last for a while. No, we got
not at all.
Another Brave New World season's coming.
Strange New Worlds, and
Strange
also
New Worlds.
And remember, those sets have not been destroyed yet.
Right.
So
are they pitching year one?
Yeah,
we'll
So we'll see.
We'll see what comes of that. But so the latest Star Trek TV series on Paramount Plus is Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Season 1 just wrapped, 10 episodes. This is the one that is set in the Disco verse, which is the far-flung future that the Star Trek that the Discovery ended up in after its latter seasons, when it went far into the future, post the burn, which is the catastrophic event that fractured the Federation, but the Federation has been rebuilding itself. And during the burn, Starfleet Academy was destroyed. And now the premise of the show is that they have rebuilt Starfleet Academy, and this is the inaugural class of the new Starfleet Academy. And it features Holly Hunter as the chancellor, the principal of the school, as Nala Ake, Captain or Chancellor Nala Ake. And the main antagonist is Paul Giamatti. And after those two castings were announced, like a year or two ago, my thought was, oh my God, they just like don't they have anything better to do, Paul Giamatti and Holly Hunter? But here we are. Isn't
Giamatti a big Trek guy though?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's the only thing to explain it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also when Discovery wrapped up, when Discovery was wrapping up, Tilly from the show, the woman with the big curly red hair, her character went off to go join the new Starfleet Academy,
right?
Because she turned out she liked teaching, blah blah. And so at that point, I was like, oh cool, she's going to be on the new show. So that was something I was looking forward to. And then this show came out, and here we are. And Mike and I started immediately texting about it.
Yeah.
And so lots of thoughts to go through.
Yeah.
So Mike, going into it, what were your hopes or expectations for the show?
The thing is, okay, that's great that you put it that way, because like I think I'm on my own personal record of always wanting a Starfleet Academy show. Now I never thought about being in the Discovery universe, but I always thought one of my favorite parts of the recent movies is watching them in the school setting, right? There's it's great scenes, and the idea, and the show's been getting heat because it's basically the CW in Star Trek. It is what it is. It is a young people going to the academy for the first time through the lens of this modern era, and so going into it, like I didn't know anything about it. I was impressed that Giamatti and Holly Hunter were in it, but I didn't really know anything about it. And
me too.
When it opens up and you have Tatiana Maslany in it right at the top, just scorching earth. I'm trying to figure out how we go about this. Well, it's going to be spoilers.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. So the POV character. Yeah, spoiler warning. If you haven't watched Starfleet Academy, we're going to talk specifically about what happened to it.
And if you don't like Star Trek, just turn the show off,
because we're going to get nerdy. We're going to get super nerdy.
But if the visual people, I'm actually wearing a Deep Space Nine shirt with the lower decks ship docked to it. This is how ready nice. For it.
But we're not going to recap all 10 episodes, because
that would be impossible.
But the important thing to note is that the entire premise of the show, while it is the beginning of this new Starfleet Academy, we're introduced to the POV character, who is this this Mir, what's his first, Caleb Mir, who is this kid who, and we were introduced, as Mike, you mentioned in the first episode, through this kind of mini scene setting thing that happens when he's 6 years old, where him and his mother are separated by Starfleet. Because turns out they were trying to get somewhere, and his mother teamed up with Paul Giamatti's character,
right? And
something went wrong, and a Starfleet officer got killed. And what we're seeing the quote unquote trial, which is being overseen by Holly Hunter's character, and she sentences both Giamatti's character and Tatiana Maslany's character to prison.
Yeah.
And this kid then becomes a ward of Starfleet, but he runs away and is on the run for the next 15 years of his life.
Right.
And then we fast forward to the present day, when he is captured by another alien colony and gets sent to prison. But here comes Holly Hunter, who now works for Starfleet again. And she gives him a deal saying, hey, you can go to prison or you can join my new Starfleet. Academy, and thus then we're introduced.
Then we begin this show.
Exactly.
And so it's a fish out of water with all these other people, and he's forced into this thing that he doesn't really believe in. His mom told him that Starfleet was evil. Her last words to him were, "Don't trust them. Don't trust anything they say."
Trust me.
And I think one of the things I will start with is like, I think the cast is actually quite fantastic. The guy who plays Caleb is like irritatingly good looking. He's very ripped. Earnest. He's ripped.
Any excuse to take a shirt off.
But he could be the total throwaway chunk of cheese character. And I think he plays with an emotional depth that I think he has no credits that I know of. And he is the lead of the show, and he grounds it.
He does hold it up pretty well. So, I mean, I think what's best to kind of take it from there. So we have that premise, and basically what then happens is you've got 2 through lines through the season. Is you've got here's Starfleet Academy. Here is this inaugural class of this kid, and then his supporting cast of characters. You know, I think that there's a handful of them of his friends, and then you've got the ongoing plot of him trying to find his mother. Correct. And at the same time, every 3 or 4 episodes, Giamatti coming back and threatening Holly Hunter, wanting revenge. And those are the 2 kind of B plots that take through all 10 episodes of that, you know, these kids going through the school, but at the same time, Caleb trying to find his mother and Giamatti being the threat, which is what the season is about, right?
Which is a hell of a lot to put on 10 episodes of TV.
Well, and that's so this is where I think, Mike, I think it's good to go with what worked and what didn't work. And let's start with what didn't work and like the little nitpicks. One is one of my biggest complaints about the new generation, pun unintended, of Paramount Star Trek shows is that they really lean into the fact that these are streaming without commercials, and every episode is at least an hour. Yeah. And I love Star Trek, but I also love a 47-minute show. And some of these, it's just like, I'm like, oh God, seriously, guys, wrap it up. Like, it doesn't have to be a full hour. It doesn't have to be an hour, 5 minutes. Like some of these episodes are pushing the lengths. Like,
but there's a lot of story. There's a lot of story to put in there. And I think the hardest part when I first watched it, knowing that whenever you go into this, knowing that there's only 9 more episodes, there's only 8 more episodes, there's only 7 more episodes. Each episode has so much weight that if you think part of the episode is lame, then you're like, well, that's 20 minutes I'll never get back because there's only so much on the clock.
Well, or sometimes it feels like watching an episode is like, oh, I guess we got to get through this.
I guess we have to get through this one.
It often sometimes can feel like a slog, but then the counterbalance of that is that when there is a good episode,
it's really good.
It feels really rewarding. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, that was so good, right? But when it's bad, it is painful.
It's tough because you have to sort of speed up to the relationships that you're going to have with these characters. Yeah. I think the original outline for the show is 4 seasons for the 4 years of school that they're going in right now, and they just completed they just wrapped on season 2. And so I think what's really interesting, like there's a character named Sam who, like, on paper was a challenge for me. They they're hologram. They're a holographic,
a photonic.
They're a photonic being from a photonic planet. It's tough. And when she gets on the stage, she's only been alive for 8 months. And so the first couple of episodes, she's like all over the place. And I've got to hand it to the actor, because the actor is being handed a pretty difficult thing. They have to be super endearing, super passionate, super crazy, super all over the place, and consistent in that, to the point it's very easy to think of the person as annoying, but things happen. And so I was like, there's an episode like episode 3 where it's all like a diary of hers, where she's drawing things like it's on crayon, and it's just there's a picture. Whitney took a picture of me with my head in my hands because I couldn't believe what I was watching.
And that's the thing is that, like, going back to what you're saying, where people have been criticizing the show because it was like the CW in Star Trek, or, obviously there was the Wake, it's too woke or blah, 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 all that nonsense or whatever. But like, that's what was extremely frustrating, is like they came up with a clever idea, which is the new Starfleet Academy. The physical building is also a ship. Right. And so the ship lands in San Francisco, where the old Starfleet Academy is. And the idea is that, like, when we need to go to space, we can go to space.
Fly right up.
Except They never went to space.
Well, they went to space once.
They did like twice. Yeah, like twice.
Look, but remember, the whole season takes place over a year, so you just never know. But I just want to tag. The thing is, though, with the Sam character played by Carice Brooks, later in the season, 6 episodes later, they do a whole thing where she's disintegrating in real time because she's experiencing so much, because she's never learned how to navigate and develop resilience because she had no childhood. And so later in the season, you get this actually pretty cool idea that Robert Picardo, the doctor from freaking Voyager, who is 500 years old and is also on staff, it was also hologram, basically raises her for 18 years, and now the character is fundamentally different and has access to those memories the way she used to be compared to where she is now, which is actually pretty interesting. Now, if I had known that there would be 26 episodes and knowing that there could be potential for growth, like I didn't anticipate that. So now I can watch that episode that I was so annoyed at before with a little bit like, oh, it had to be so over the top so it could be rewarded later on.
To have more,
but you can't.
Balance.
But there's no way to trust the writers because they have no room to make any errors.
And that's not a Star Trek problem. That's a streaming era problem.
That's what I'm saying. But this 10 episode limit is a very difficult thing. And for the fan base that wants to relive the very best of Star Trek every week, because that's what they remember, it's a high bar, an impossible bar.
And that's also one of the other challenges of this, is that this show really likes to remind you that this is a Star Trek show at every turn. So much so in that, like, if you look at, like, one of the things I love about Star Trek is that each generation, again, pun unintended, of Star Trek has its own look. The original series has its own font, and then the movies had its own font, and then Star Trek Next Generation had its own font, and like they all had their own identity. And in Starfleet Academy, they just use all the fonts. Like they literally, like, if you look at the logo there of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, they've merged the movie font and the original series font into one logo. It makes my brain hurt so much. And then and every opportunity in the first 3 episodes, they're dropping in so much fan service. Like, we're here at the James T. Kirk Pavilion, and like one alien comes to visit San Francisco and she just wants to see the whales. And I was just like, oh, come on, guys. Like, we can be more clever.
He would have a pavilion, though.
Yeah, true. He would, but
Kirk
still
would have a pavilion.
But so like there are ways to be Star Trek without banging it in, without hitting you over the head with it. And then they did do that. The episode, the Cisco episode, was a wonderful nod to the legacy of Deep Space Nine and to Cisco and Star Trek lore, and it wove in nicely. Going back to Tilly and Discovery, she isn't on the show until the 8th episode.
Right.
And then she comes in for 1 episode. And now this is Tilly, who on Discovery was on the majority of Discovery, working in engineering, solving all stuff like that. She comes in as a guest lecturer to teach drama. Yeah. And they put on Our Town.
Right.
Right. And I was like, what the God living hell are we doing here? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like they keep, like, and the thing is that it was the consistency of it. My wife asked me, she's like, do you like the show? I'm like, there's stuff about it that I do like. Yeah. Like, I absolutely do like, I thought Holly Hunter was great. I thought bringing back Robert Picardo as the Doctor was fantastic. Tig Notaro, who we got in Discovery, she's a great addition. I like the role that she plays and all that sort of stuff. There was some Star Trek stuff laden into that was good, but then they go and do the CW stuff, which was just like, come on, guys, like, do Star Trek.
What I've been struggling with, because like Whit and I would get in arguments because she would like something a lot, and I would find myself disagreeing, but not really being able to back up my disagreeing with other than, oh, I just didn't like it. And what I realized is that I was putting my own preconceptions about Star Trek on it, which is not fair. I will remind everyone that when Next Generation came out, people crapped on it like crazy. The spaceship looked like a duck. But Patrick Stewart was this old man. When Deep Space Nine came out, it was a Star Trek show where the spaceship didn't explore. They got dinged for that.
They were stuck in one place. I remember that. Yeah.
When Enterprise came out, the theme song, everybody freaked out. The only show that when it launched that people didn't hate on site was actually Voyager, which was interesting. So it is interesting that like people have to Conor's thing, like they call it New Trek. and there, if you want to feel bad about humanity, go on the Star Trek subreddit, right? Because they really do not like Kurtzman and New Trek. But the thing is, once I sort of stopped trying to judge it and just once I let it be what it was trying to be, I started enjoying it a lot more.
Right.
There are things I don't understand. I don't know why the Klingon has to talk so weird.
That's my other thing.
Like some of this stuff was really strange from a directorial point of view.
Misfires. Whoever is directing the guy playing the Klingon
is very strange.
Why Makes they make sense. That guy talk that way? I don't like. Have you not seen?
He talks like he
no. It's worse
talks,
than that.
I mean, I can't do it because it's so bad.
Like the direction is almost like talk like someone who's not allowed to talk.
Yeah, it's really, but.
Well, can I ask a question?
Yes. Sorry.
So, granted, I've only seen the first season of Discovery, but 2 episodes of season 2, one or 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds. I've not seen all these things. Isn't this a different universe? How are actors from the original Star Trek in these new shows playing their roles?
No, this is the same universe as.
It doesn't make sense if it's the same universe.
No.
It doesn't make any sense if it's the same universe.
Why?
The ships are more advanced than they were in 1960.
Oh, well, this is 20,000 years in the future.
And the Discovery show doesn't make any sense. It takes place before the original series. So my point is this: I thought this was a separate timeline.
No. They took the approach, and I mean it's a fair observation, borderline nitpick, because like with Strange New Worlds, it's the Enterprise before the original series, as if the original series was made today.
Yeah,
right, which is bullshit. It should just
be you have to go. You
just have to let it go. I mean, I mean, the thing that is another. It's not a nitpick, but a challenge is that we're so far in the future that the technology is a lot like magic. And so you have point-to-point transportation. You have something called programmable matter. So there's a lot of things that are like some of the fun thing about Star Trek was that the technology wasn't working, right? And they're jury rigging. They're going in. They're trying to fix things in the Jeffries tubes and that type of thing. So the relationship to technology is very, very different.
But it should be more advanced. That was one of the criticisms of the Discovery, was that it was so much more advanced than the old shows, but it was taking place before the old shows. So
that's why they put them in the future, maybe.
Right, it should have always been in the future. It would make more sense if this took place in the future of Star Trek.
But also, if you remember back in Next Generation, was that they treated the technology not as like with no explanation. Like Geordi would refocus the tachyon field emitter and solve the problem. You know, like it was always a means to an end, right? It was never like it's always about the story, and it's about the whatever the position or the emotion that they're trying to get across in terms of the relationships, as far as I'm concerned with Star Trek, and the idea of exploration, the idea of connection, and ultimately underlying. And that's what I say, Starfleet Academy did get some things right, because underlying it all, I thought the Beta Z girl was good.
She's great.
Was great. I thought, I agree with you. I think ultimately the through line of Caleb and his mother and all that stuff was great. Giamatti, fantastic.
Murders it. You have three Emmy Award winners on screen at once during the finale, and they all work together terrifically. Giamatti's got a very long monologue. But I think I feel bad for the cast, because they had to spit out these 2 seasons and they're just getting excoriated online. But it's one of those things that I feel like if people give the whole season a chance, because if you go on YouTube and look for Star Trek Academy reviews, it's just people excoriating it to the point where they're not. I think part of the fun of having Star Trek on is having Star Trek on and them trying to figure it out. I'd much rather live with a faulty, flaky, weirdo Star Trek than no Star Trek.
As you said, if the internet existed in 1987 or whenever Next Generation started, you would have the same YouTube videos. 100%.
And that's part of also what I love about Star Trek, and what I love about my fandom of Star Trek is that, like, Star Trek and Star Wars have both been in my life, my entire life. And Star Wars has always been on this pedestal of reverence. And Star Trek has always been this thing of the people that I can watch, I could laugh at and poke fun at, and tear apart and enjoy. And like, it's almost like, you know how Conor, you know how like Shakespeare was like like the common people's plays, you know what I mean? Like that's what Star Trek is for me, as far as science fiction goes. Like, I remember being 10 years old and watching the original series with my dad and us like making fun of it while we're watching it because it was so hokey and like whatever it is. And that's part of Star Trek. Part of Star Trek is making fun of it. Right. But you know,
something I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think one of the things that really does bother me, and it's a weird thing to complain about, is that, like you, Ron, I would every weekday at 6 p.m. I'd watch Star Trek with my dad. And it was a thing where I got to see what an adult liked, and oh my goodness, something an adult liked, I also really liked, and we both watched it. And even though we would laugh, or maybe when we're not supposed to laugh, we were pretty invested. And I found it really interesting. The dialogue in the show is very modern, and they're always swearing, and there's all this cuss words, and that, like, I hate even being like old man like that, but like I would love it if like a parent could watch this with their kids and not have that in the background, right? It just watch. I don't. It's like, remember that there's that quote with Conor and I'm talking about, where Darwin Cook said, if you can't write an all-ages Superman book, you have no business being in the industry. You should be able to write a Star Trek show without swearing and just make it something that can be approachable without hesitation for multiple generations.
I mean, there's something so pure and wonderful about the original series and Next Generation that you know, I mean, I spent so like years of middle school watching all of those episodes and just loving it and devouring it. And it was really, you know, time that I treasure with my father, watching like Saturday nights, watching, you know, 2 original series episodes and a Next Generation series episode, and it wasn't perfect. And Conor, to your point, the technology, the spinning dials versus LEDs and stuff like that. And even in the Next Generation, you know, just like as you know, like to this day, like how many times when you put your leg over a chair and pull a Riker maneuver, you know what I mean? Like we're still laughing at it. Like, why did he do that? Like, it made no sense, right? So so it's like Star Trek has those little things, but it's got to be, there's something about it, there's a je ne sais quoi to it that's not this weirdo Klingon voice that this dude is doing. That is, you know what I mean? Like there's either the right way to make fun of it or getting it wrong. Yeah. I don't think Starfleet Academy gets it wrong. I think there is some stuff that it did get right, but there is some stuff that is just like more on the cringe side of it. You know?
I mean, you know, I would argue you probably don't need the whole war college thing. So Conor, there's actually 2 schools.
They needed a rivalry
Academy, and so you have it, but then they sort of drop that halfway through, right? Yeah. I mean, it is an interesting concept that there's a war college and they're studying something totally different, and they're all about tactics and destruction and all that. Like, if you're going to have that on, then really explore it, as opposed to them just being Gryffindor or whatever. Right.
But I will say, I'll give them credit, is that like they introduced Starfleet Academy and the War College, and they share the campus, and the War College kids are all like raw, and they like and they like have like some sport that they play against each other in, and they're doing. There's an episode where they do campus pranks and like all this nonsense. They're trying stuff, and then halfway through the season, they're going to space, and they're doing a exercise on a derelict ship. And Giamatti and his people show up and attack them, and it becomes a real Star Trek episode with stakes, and a Vulcan on the War College kids dies, and it becomes super fucked up and like really intense. And it was like one of the best episodes of the season. I'm like, that's Star Trek. Thank you.
And they were able to pull it off.
It was really good. Yeah. Like there was actual stakes and stuff happened, and it shifted the entire dynamic of the season from that point forward. And like stuff actually happened. Like, so it shows that they had it in them.
Well, I mean, and that was going to be the complaint with Deep Space Nine, is like, how would you have those moments if the ship can't go anywhere? So it is possible. You just need more time to
cultivate it.
You need to cultivate the rules of this show.
Yeah.
And if you rush into it, you can sort of trip up on yourself. There are some other things, like I don't know, but it's not my setup, because I fine-tuned my audio setup, so it's almost perfect. But I'm telling you, there's a mushiness to the sibilant S's. Like, there's a lot of mush mouse on those actors. They're not doing it's not that they're not doing their vocal warm-ups or something. It's just like there's a weird audio quality, but there's a lot of it's very mushy. But it looks incredible. The set design is really interesting. Like
lighting.
I do not love the spaceships that don't have to be physically connected to each other.
That's a Discovery thing. Yeah,
I really hate.
Yeah.
And I don't like the way they do the communications where the person they're talking to is walking around the environment of the person that they're talking to locally. Makes no sense whatsoever. I don't even know why I literally just don't do it. Just put a screen in, because it's funny because there's a point in Strange New Worlds where Pike is like, yeah, we're not doing any of that stuff anymore. Just put them on the screen.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I'm going to stick with it, obviously, because to your point, Mike, I want Star Trek in my life versus not having Star Trek in my life. So,
and also Whitney's point is like, I want to see where these characters go. We haven't had an all new cast like this before. It'd be fun. Maybe they'll have adventures going forward. I found it really interesting. They kept talking about Discovery being in the system, but Discovery never shows up.
Oh yeah, Holly Hunter twice was like, "What about Discovery?" And they're just like, "There's some BS reason why Discovery can't save them." And so,
the sets are no longer around, so we can't really do much there. But if they drop in Michael Burnham in season 2, I bet you that.
She's too busy working in Boston now. So
do we know the future of Star Trek with
No, we don't.
Paramount and
there's
Warner
been lip
Brothers
service saying that it's important, and obviously Skydance has
it's a brand that will always be important. But do you think?
Well, Skydance he likes making Star Trek movies, but
this version of Star Trek, is Kurtzman across all these shows? Is he the guy running all of them?
Yeah.
So the Kurtzman version is that. So we don't know if that's the future of Star Trek.
Everything's up in the air.
The question became when you said Whitney was like, I want to know what happens to these characters in the past. As long as people watch it, there was an expectation that Dexteration's characters would last for 30 years. Right? These guys would go on for how long the show went on, and they'd be in movies, but you'd see them for the decades of your life. Right. I don't know if there's any expectation that you're going to have that now with these characters in this Kurtzman universe, that they're still going to be around in 10 years, that they're going to be in a movie in 20 years. Like, it may just be you get another season of 10 episodes and then you never hear from them again.
It might be
it's a different relationship with Star Trek now, because the magic of Star Trek to me was it was almost a separate real world. The guy playing a character in 1960 played him again all through the 90s into the 2000s in whatever form the Star Trek was. And I don't know that you have that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, is anything guaranteed anymore?
No, and it wasn't guaranteed back then. I mean,
but they found a way to do it.
But the motion picture came up as Star Trek 2, but the whole, we'd already know all that stuff. But it is. But the flip side of this, there's a really fun montage for the 60th anniversary where they show all the different ships, and it's really great. But I love the fact that everybody's like, what about the lower decks? Where's the Cerritos? Which is my thing for Star Trek fans is like, I actually think Lower Decks is one of the best Star Trek shows.
I've heard that.
I haven't watched. Fantastic.
I haven't watched any of it because I don't watch animation. But
it is worth your time. I swear to God, you'll love the font. But it's in canon and it's very funny.
Well, I liked when they had the Lower Decks people come in real life, and that was a great episode of
I watched one of the Lower Decks. It felt very much in the vein of the modern adult animation, which everyone just yells at the top of their lungs.
Later, they don't yell as much, but the first.
Well, speaking of yelling at the top of your lungs, they did on Starfleet Academy. There's a character, and they open the Cadet Master, who's a Klingon woman with and the most irritating character I've ever seen, who then magically disappeared in the back half of the show. I said to my wife, I'm like, oh, they must have gotten the note that she was not working at all.
Well, because that is, it's a half Klingon, half it's the slave race to the Cardassians, in which
Bajorans.
No,
not Bajoran. No,
it's they were a race that were basically designed to be warriors, so they should never have had progeny at all.
Who is she? She was
very difficult thing to play.
She's a Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar. Like, you're basically given an actor to play two hard notes as hard as possible,
and she
does pull it off. I think she pulls it off just from the base level, but then she's Tig Notaro's partner too, which is like, was also reaching. But she disappears. I could only imagine the guy who does Jaden, the Klingon. He has 6 hours of makeup. He gets to work at 2 a.m, and like just so much.
Conor, I want you to watch an episode just to hear this Klingon guy talk or find a clip just because it's so off. It's so like that to me. That's the biggest sin of the show is Jaden's.
Yeah.
Whatever direction of him. I can't even do. We have to stop talking about it because it's game.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with who's your favorite, at least favorite character on the show.
I mean, it's cheating to say Giamatti and Holly Hunter because they're like actual actors, but I liked Holly Hunter. She was a good captain. She's good. A different vibe. Of the kids, oh man.
It's tough because they all sort of fill these sort of roles. I think the woman who plays Genesis,
she's good.
She's actually pretty good. We all knew a girl like her, like was really into studying but like kind of clumsy at relationships. I think she nails it. I think I admit that I like watching the guy who plays Caleb work with all of the different actors because he holds his own against Holly Hunter and Giamatti. And he's able to be with the younger actors, so he's fun to watch. But I don't know if I really care about these characters all that much, but I'm happy to watch the show. And I was really not into it when it came out, but I think it had a lot more to do with me than the show.
It's funny to scroll through YouTube and look at the clickbait headlines that related to Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Oh, it's intense.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, the amount
over the top.
The vitriol is over the top, and I think it's unfair.
Yeah.
Put it out of its misery.
It is exactly what the show is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a CW show.
Well, we got to wrap up, Mike, but I will disagree with that. I don't think, I think that there's a dial on that type of show, right. And they could have, and you can control how high that dial goes. And I think they turned it a little, at times they
especially
turned it too
at the
high
top.
up.
For sure.
You could have done this show with a little more Star Trek than CW.
I think you could do the Academy on the ship, and the ship could be going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad that it's got a second season. It's no guarantee that season's going to air. These are extremely expensive shows to do in post. Yeah. But I hope they keep going just because I think they're
me too. I want Star Trek. I always want a Star Trek show to watch. So
but there might be Star Trek Year One, so we'll see. They haven't destroyed.
We've said for years, and we all love the movies, but Star Trek should be a television show.
Yeah.
People inflated it to become a bigger thing than it was because the movies were so big in the 80s and 90s. But
Wagon Train to the Stars
should be a TV show.
When a TV show is only 10 episodes, it's tough. I find it very difficult.
That's the thing. It's like 10 episodes, but Mike, making them an hour 5 minutes long doesn't solve for that either because it works against them. But anyway, so hopefully now we'll see when Strange New Worlds new season comes out and look forward to talking more about it. So
yeah.
All right, so that's it for this month's show. You can always go to iFanboy.com. We have 1,500 plus shows there.
Oh my God!
That are released new episodes every Sunday, sometimes on Thursdays, and you can find them all the comic book talk, the weekly comics, the comic book movies, TV shows, the Mediasplodes, the Booksplodes. They're all there at iFanboy.com for your enjoyment.
Yes, and if you're looking for more stuff to listen to and you want to hear me blather on every week, you go to AndroidFaithful.com. You can hear me talk about technology, talking about smartphones and Android phones and Google and sometimes iPhones and things like that all over at AndroidFaithful.com. It's a fun time. We have a good time over there. So, and if you're into pinball, check out Scorbit. Go to scorbit.io, download the Scorbit app where you can keep track of your pinball scores. And now starting to roll out at various locations around the country, you can use the Scorbit app to pay for games. You can put in, instead of putting in quarters, you can use your credit card to buy games. And rolling out soon, you're going to be able to win money playing pinball with Scorbit. So stay tuned for more on that. It's coming soon.
All right. That's it for this month's show. Until next time, I'm Conor.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Mike.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. There you go. Wait, I got my.
Can everybody do it?
Absolutely.
You gotta do the.
I can do both. They were doing it. Everybody got mad because they were all like doing this for one of the pictures, and we were like, "That's sacrilegious."
I can't do it on my right hand anymore because I sliced my pinky open, and I can't feel half my pinky, so I can't do that anymore.
That's terrible. Don't do that.